In the small village of Isinka, where the shadows of two tall mountains fell every evening, I was born. The mountains stood like two angry parents, always watching, always judging. My name is Nia, and this is the story of how I came to be who I am, though my journey was anything but easy. I don't remember the first time I felt hungry, but hunger became my closest friend. My father had left before I could walk, and my mother did her best. But the little money she made selling herbs in the market barely bought enough food to keep us alive. At night I would lie on a mat of dried grass, my stomach twisting in pain. The walls of our mud house were thin, and the wind outside felt like it had teeth. Sometimes my mother would sit by the fire, her face in her hands. I knew she was crying, but she never let me see the tears. One day, when I was about 6 years old, a man came to our house. He brought a bottle filled with a sharp-smelling liquid. He said it would help my mother forget her pain. She drank, and for a while she smiled, but soon the bottle became her best friend, and her sadness grew deeper. As I grew older, the village became a dangerous place for me. Some men would look at me the wrong way, their eyes hungry like wolves. My mother, when she was sober, told me to stay away from them. "Stay in the shadows," she said. "The world is not kind to girls like you." The world wasn't kind to me at home either. When my mother was drunk, she would hit me. Not hard at first, but over time, the hits became slaps, and the slaps became fists. I wanted to ask her why she hurt me, but I knew the answer. She was hurting too. By the time I was 10, I had learned to survive on my own. I would climb the mountains looking for wild fruits or roots to eat. The rocks cut my hands and feet, but the pain didn't bother me anymore. It was easier than the pain at home. One day, as I climbed higher than I ever had before, I found a small cave. Inside was a spring of clear water, and beside it was a tiny wooden statue of a woman holding a child. I didn't know who had put it there, but I felt safe in that place. I started going there every time I needed to escape. When I was 12, my mother disappeared. She left one morning and never came back. Some people said she had gone to the city to find a better life. Others said she had followed the man with the sharp-smelling bottle. I didn't cry. By then I had no tears left. The village elders wanted to send me to live with my aunt, but I refused. I told them I could take care of myself, and they laughed. "You're just a child," they said. But I wasn't a child anymore. Hunger and pain had made me grow up fast. I started working in the market, carrying heavy sacks for traders. The other girls in the village laughed at me, calling me Naya the Mule, but I didn't care. Every coin I earned was a step closer to freedom. One day, an old woman named Mama Koro took pity on me. She let me sleep in her kitchen and gave me food when she could. She told me stories about the mountains, how they were once alive and full of magic. She said the cave I found was sacred, a place where spirits protected those who were pure of heart. At 16, I was no longer the skinny, scared girl from before. I had muscles from carrying sacks, and my eyes had seen too much to ever look away. But the village still treated me like dirt. People whispered behind my back, saying I would end up like my mother. One evening, as I sat outside Mama Koro's house, a man from the city came to the village. He was looking for workers for his farm. "Strong ones," he said, his eyes scanning the crowd. I knew this was my chance. I left the village that night, carrying nothing but a small bag of clothes and the memory of the wooden statue in the cave. The farm was hard work, but I didn't mind. The city people didn't care about my past. They only cared if I could work, and I worked harder than anyone else. Slowly, I began to save money. I used that money to buy books and taught myself how to read. It wasn't easy, but every word I learned felt like a brick in a wall I was building around myself, a wall to keep out the pain of my past. Now, as I sit here telling you my story, I'm no longer the girl from the village between the mountains. I've become something else, someone stronger, someone who can look at the mountains and not feel small, but I still remember where I came from. I remember the hunger, the pain, and the shadows. They made me who I am, and while the scars on my body may fade, the ones on my heart will always remind me of the girl who climbed higher than anyone thought she could. I am Nia, the girl who lived between the mountains, and I am not afraid anymore.